An artist colleague posted a very important question on a Facebook group today. The question was how each one of us is adjusting and how we all intend to continue pursuing performing arts given the current situation. When it comes to a business operating mindset, the performing arts industry has been slow to adapt with the 21st century. Normally artists, for whatever reason, they shy away from learning to consider their offering as a business exchange or business dealing. We have to be the overall artist. We need to really have both of the aspects, not only the creative aspect, but also the entrepreneurial aspect. To put it mildly, the current situation has presented performing arts with a big challenge and a big dilemma. However, it has also presented us with an enormous opportunity to rethink, reset and reinvent our industry. During the financial crisis in 2008, performing arts was hit hard. 1 year later, I remember that it took about 2 to 3 years. So it took 1 year to feel the knock from the economical crisis, and the performing arts took another 2 to 3 years to recover, to go back, and obviously we know what happened. So unfortunately it took about 10 years, a little bit more than 10 years for us to get this crisis. The current situation has hit us immediately, and its effect will last much longer unless we get together and rethink our way of operating. So I think the minimum impact of COVID-19 will last for at least 12 to 18 months. This impact will also come around, and it will be likely that the world will never be the same again. So therefore, we must put our minds together to find new alternatives, to rethink most of the pre-COVID processes. If the performing arts industry wanted to move on with times, we must reassess the way we operate it in general. There is no doubt there will be a wonderful wave of performing arts creations post-COVID. There'll be new creations that inspire and the entire society, millions of people will feel the effect of performances, and we will inspire millions of them, entertain them through our music, dance, videos, films, dramas, circus performances and everything linked with the performing arts, be it live or be it recorded, be it on screen. However, the time being, many people are struggling. We must admit this. This is going to get worse before it gets better. And here within the struggle lies the opportunity to rethink, reset and reinvent our industry. Despite the enormous advancement, success and achievement for too long when it comes to a business operating mindset, the performing arts industry has been slow to adapt with the 21st century. This is my opinion. There are a few amazing examples of businesses and franchises mindsets, mainly in film, video and circus. For example, what comes to mind is Cirque du Soleil. They created this amazing, fantastic franchise, and they are one of the few performing arts productions that really make money and they get value for what they were doing. We need to embrace the new era. Otherwise, if we fail to do that, we will be swept under the big wave that has come. It has hit us. We, in a way, are not really feeling the impact that badly, although there are quite a few colleagues who are really struggling at the moment and they don't know what they're going to do. But we need to really glide that wave. We need to really find a way how to stay at the top of that wave. Otherwise, if we don't, we're just going to be swept over, or we might find ourselves in a remote island, completely battered like a shipwreck. So I believe that our industry has ignored its financial viability and concept of rendering financial values to the society for far too long. And now is the time we look into it with a different perspective, really seriously. Unless we consider the performing arts as a financial viable service that society is prepared to buy from. We will continue to struggle, and perhaps quite a lot of us might completely leave the profession and leave this wonderful industry. We hear different voices in the performing arts talking about the need for more funding and money from the society. I agree with it, to be honest. We need more funding, more money. Yet, in fact, what's happened in the past has not been entirely society's or government's fault, because it's quite easy to blame or to see that, oh yeah, we haven't had funding so far, so therefore we just need to wait for handouts. Don't take me wrong, we deserve to be supported by the government. We deserve, because we pay our taxes, we need to think on our value, the value that we give to the society. A major part of this situation has been created by ourselves, to be honest. We haven't really valued our profession enough to get what we are worth. Normally artists, for whatever reason, they shy away from learning to consider their offering as a business exchange or business dealing. As a community, we shy away from any conversation related to business and money making. Quite often I meet artists and money value. When you talk about money, they just freak out, some of them. Or they just say, well, I'm an artist, I just create. In a way, this has been one of our biggest weaknesses. Until now, for example, we took for granted the fact that many performing artists spend most of their life focusing on their artistic creation. That's a fact. You just do a calculation on the hours you spend on working on your business or just creating work, and then leaving a lot of value, a lot of assets out there for whom? Who's going to really sell them? Unless you don't sell them, unless you don't know, or you don't learn, or you don't put yourself down to learn how to sell. Nobody else is going to do it for you. In a way, this is what we are about, and it comes easy to us when we create. But in a way, it's just the technical part of it. The creation is linked with the thing that becomes natural to us. We forget that in order for this creation to be of value for the society, we must also be as good at developing our entrepreneurial skills. And when I talk with artists about the entrepreneurial skills, they just look at me as if I'm from a different planet. And again, the phrase and the discussion of I'm an artist, I just create, creeps over and comes, dominates our conversation. And then very quickly the word entrepreneurial or being an entrepreneur, being a business person, withers away. I've noticed this with quite a lot of artists. By focusing only on the creative part and ignoring the entrepreneurial part of our work, we step over the thin line between having an expensive hobby or making a living from our profession. Then after I discuss with artists, I just say to them, okay, well, tell me the difference between hobby and profession. And it's very easy. A hobby is when you spend money, time, energy, and passion because you love what you're doing. And a profession is something that brings you money. Quite often I see artists who practically spend money and pay for their profession. They spend most of their time working, doing 2-3 other jobs, then focusing to do their work only because they can't afford it. They can't really earn their living only by following their passion. So let's take the example of money, for example. Most performing artists, at least in the UK, see money making business deal as alien and shy away from it. So their paradigm is that we create beautiful art. Others, i.e. managers, producers, will sell it and buy my art. This old paradigm must be shaken and a new one must be taken in and created. This is really a big handicap. We are an enterprise. We must think of ourselves as an enterprise. I've researched on this paradigm for years and have received the same results. For example, just go into Google, just challenge me now and prove me wrong. For years now, nobody has proved me wrong. And for example, go to Google and search with the term business or entrepreneurial training for performing artists. Just go, Google it. You will find nothing, just nothing. You will find a few articles, you will find a few universities selling their courses, but if you compare the amount of courses and workshops that are advertised out there on learn how to do pirouettes, learn how to project your voice, learn how to be a better actor, learn how to draw better, learn how to work with a camera, learn how to do flip back for circus and so on. All of this, just think, all of this, it's a technical part of our profession. Who's going to sell this? Who's going to sell us? Who's going to sell this art, this beautiful art that we're working? And if we are not doing these workshops, if we are not expressing any desires to take part and learn and educate ourselves, we're going to be stuck forever. So I believe that the reason for lack of this training is not that there are no people or good people who could deliver business training or entrepreneurial training for performing artists, but there is no demand. We, performing artists, we are not thinking clearly. We are not thinking of a society's value for what we're creating. We just create art for art. And don't take me wrong, I'm not saying here's everybody. I'm saying most of us. And I'm discussing about this because this is a great opportunity to reset our thinking and go back into seeing what to do and to give an answer to that initial question that I posted at the beginning. Their mindset is stuck in the old paradigm that as far as I'm a great artist, someone else will discover me and they will pay me loads of money for it. The reality as we know it is not that. We have to be the overall artist. We need to really have both of the aspects, not only the creative aspects, but also the entrepreneurial aspects. Over the years, I've asked many artists to give me a quick description about money, for example. And where does the money come from? The vast majority of them don't know the answer or have a very vague idea about finance. This is another handicap that we have got the chance now to overcome. For example, post-COVID has forced us to look into the uncomfortable situation directly into the eye and accept that unless we change our paradigms, we will continue to have the same results. We can't continue to be complacent and think only on how to improve our voice, bodies, conceptualize costumes, cameras, megapixels, or how beautiful music we're going to perform, what we're going to create. How many studios and how many hours we're going to spend in the studio. In today's world, producing high quality art is a given. And it's directly linked with the technical side of our work. The overall professional as an entrepreneur, it's much more important than just being a fantastic artist. This is what we do as artists to maintain our trade. That's what we do, we just create. However, this trade needs to be sold to others. We end up having that self-indulgent, expensive hobby if we don't think as entrepreneurials, as business people, as an enterprise, as a brand for ourselves. The new paradigm needs us to think that if the society doesn't see value in the trade, there is no point and nobody is going to buy us. We need to render a service to the society so the society will give that value back. Alongside the thinking of how to improve our art, i.e. being a good actor or being fantastic dancers, we must think of ourselves as an entrepreneur, a brand and business. Being a good artist is a given and we will continue to learn and explore it. We must strive towards knowledge and how to present our art, how to sell it, and how to receive that perceived value from the society. In turn, that value will sustain and help us flourish. Unfortunately, we don't have that training or let's say financial sustainability. I'm yet to find artists who I'm talking to and to say if they learned anything about business or about money when they studied 3, 4, 5, 7 years on how to be great actors. None of them. So we don't have training on how to market and sell our art and our artistic values. That's why I'm saying if you go and challenge me today and search on Google business training for actors workshops, you wouldn't find any. Perhaps you might be lucky, I don't know yet, as this moment that I'm doing this video, I haven't had anything. So for performing arts in general are wrapped up in that old cocoon paradigm set by the society and repeated by ourselves, that artists have to struggle, there's no money in the performing arts, being an artist doesn't mix with money making, I will be discovered, etc. And this paradigm will perpetuate and make things worse if we don't change it. We need to learn how to sell our value as the newly discovered diamond. Think of that diamond. Well, it was buried about 10,000 feet into the ground. No one could appreciate its value until someone invested into finding that diamond, polished it, prepared to pay for it, brought it into a shop, and a lot of people discovered and put value into it and paid very big money for it. So the same thing with us. We could be this wonderful, this beautiful diamond, but if we don't know, if we don't retrain ourselves into putting also an effort on how to market, sell, promote, and create and build our enterprise, nobody is going to give value to the diamond that we are or that we have created. I hope this makes sense. Instead of asking what will the government and Arts Council are going to do for us, we must ask what we are going to do differently from what we did before COVID-19. So we can't expect the solution to come from the outside world, and even worse, to start blaming businesses and start blaming society for not giving us value. If we ourselves don't give value to our work, there is no point. Giving value means understanding that being an overall and all-rounded artist means being creative, working hard, understanding the laws of society, operating as an enterprise, and expecting a well-deserved reward for the value we render to that society. Not understanding and not having proper training on business, finance, marketing, partnerships, investment, money is the performing arts Achilles heel, and one must be tackling it immediately. This is the surfing board. The learning is a surfing board for us, which will help us glide over that wave that I discussed at the beginning. And the wave is presented to us in the form of the pandemic. But if we have the chance to learn about the things that we never learned at school, on how to be an enterprise, that will be at the surfing board, which will take us on top of that wave, instead of really getting under the wave and then continuing the same way as before, creating, going to studio, projecting the voice better, or doing better tricks and doing better flips, writing better scripts, or writing better music or performing better music. Knowing how and where the money comes from must not be the privilege of only a handful of people in the arts management world. It must and could be learned by us all. The money should not be accumulated only in the handful of 20 to 30 arts managers in the performing arts, but we could all learn and increase our offering to the society, therefore receive much, much more back from that society. So if you want to follow your passion, do what you love and get paid what you're worth, you must have a mission from this moment on. And that mission from today must be to reassess your mindset, believe and ask different questions from what you've asked so far. Think and act as an overall artist who is as good at creating and performing beautiful art as leading and managing their own career as an enterprise by giving and receiving value for their work. Now is the time for the performing arts in general and performing artists in particular to pose the question, what and how did we do things until now? And this question must be followed by a different question. How must I do things differently to provide and receive value from the society on what I'm worth? I'm Tomorr Kokona, a performing arts coach and a choreographer. Thank you.